Lewis. I'm a motivational speaker, I'm an author, I'm an activist. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I graduated high school at Burnsville in 2011, 26 years old. My first book was when I was 19 years old, called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, teaching people intellectually how to channel your thoughts. And my second book is called The Essence of Inspiration, again, teaching people how to define their inspiration to actually scale their lives to go from point A to point B. What we're going to go through today is the power of branding and networking. For those that may not know what networking is and branding, it's basically who you are as a person. For who you are as a person, how do you actually get to where you want to go? People typically give you opportunities in life by your character, your personality, how you dress, how you speak. And so the presentation I'm going to go through is talking about a little bit behind my story. Originally, like I said, I graduated at Burnsville in 2011. I went to 3 colleges in 3 years. I went to college in Iowa Central. I was a part of 2 national champion teams, wrestling, cross country. After suffering my 9th concussion, I said, I'm done trying to be this macho guy. There has to be something else out here. So after I left college in Iowa, I went to school in Sierra Nevada College in Lake Tahoe. Cool paddleboarding, hiking, things my brother does not do, but I got out of my comfort zone and was able to do so. And after that, I transferred from that school. I had met a friend that was out there. He said, hey, you can come back to Minnesota with me, and stay with me. I said, all right, cool. Well, my family had moved back to Tennessee. That's originally where I'm from. So when I came to my friend's house in Minnesota, he said, oh, you can't stay here. So basically I was left homeless at 19 years old, didn't know where to go, and I was grateful to get taken in by a family friend that knew me through the wrestling community. They just knew my character, and they said, hey, you can stay with us as long as you want. I got accepted to every school in Minnesota, but I didn't have a car license or permit to get around. But I knew my great divine of friends that knew me that I was going to be able to hitch a ride to whatever college I got accepted to. So I eventually transferred and went to St. Cloud State. And in St. Cloud State is where I started my first company. It's called Dow Enterprises. I created apps for iPhones, and that was one of my big things. The reason I wanted to go to college is become a business owner, start this entrepreneurial endeavor. And when I went to St. Cloud, I was going through a little bit homeless phase, broke phase. I survived the summer of 2013 with only $1.78. Well, how do you survive with only $1.78? I had great people in my network, friends that were able to help me out at a time that I didn't know how to help myself. And my friends put books into my hands. They started to introduce me to stuff, and I eventually got a job as a debt collector. So I'm now out of school, becoming a debt collector, trying to get myself back into school, and I started to understand a lot of different perspectives behind college, debt, credit, and again, when I started to really hone in on what I wanted to do, I met a mentor, and she put a book in my hand that says, do what professionals do, wear what professionals wear, and go where professionals go. So at 19 years old, I joined the Chambers of Commerce as a business owner. I started an online company, and ever since then, I've been able to plant the right seeds. Fast forward to today, I'm 26. In a couple of weeks, I'll be speaking on stage with the owner of Priceline, who's a multi-billionaire, and that's crazy to think of. But again, that came from me just building a brand online, continuing to plant the right seeds, and knowing that the faith that I have and where I want to go is going to manifest. So I'll go to the next slide, and we'll just go over what branding is and how you can go about doing so.
Do you want me to just have our sit there and
sure.
advance?
Want to help a brother out? Help a brother out, man. And each time you're just gonna probably have to click twice because it's a presentation. So what is branding and why is it important to network? So who has a dream in this room? Raise your hand. Goals? We should all have goals and dreams. Well, how you carry yourself, whatever age you are at, that's going to ultimately be an influence to where you want to go. So why is it important to network? If you have friends, if you have people to talk to, if you want to get a job, you're going to ultimately have to humble yourself and ask someone, how do I get into this field? What are the credentials that I need to have? And I'm 26. I've had over 25 jobs, literally. My first job was Dairy Queen. Again, from Dairy Queen to owning my own business is a long stretch. But when I started my first business at 15 years old, I was trading and selling iPhones on Craigslist. So I knew that people liked iPhones and they were willing to buy it for whatever price I was able to sell them for. And so when I was networking at a very early age, even when I was broke, homeless, looking for a job opportunity, I had to make sure that I was a person that people saw willing enough to actually open the door up for me. So for anyone in this room, you all have something you want to do with yourselves. You're young. But when I was in high school, I promise you, I was a troublemaker. I was the class clown, the funny guy, the funny black brother. That was my little thing that I played off as. But I graduated high school with literally with a 1.4 GPA, like straight D's. I went to college and got a 3.6. What was my focus? Well, my focus was only being the class clown, thinking that my athletic ability was going to get me to college, which it did. But after I again had 9 concussions, I said, well, I have a 3.6 GPA. Where do I want to go elsewhere? I got accepted to every school across the nation, Florida State, New York, Texas, Baylor, and I eventually chose Nevada because it was in the wilderness, the school was entrepreneurship, and the school was $44,000 a year, which is very expensive. And I still had scholarships to get me there, but when I went out there, I still had a balance of $17,000. And I'm working 2 jobs while going to class, and I said, I'm coming from a single parent household, my mom works at Walmart, like, this is not gonna work. So I lasted 1 semester out there, and then I eventually went to St. Cloud State, and that's where I eventually went to school. I left school. I'm a person with a diploma and a personality, and I tell people, go to school, get your education, but who you are as a person and what you want to do in life will also get you the opportunity just as much. You can cook if you have to watch it. So define your story. Everyone in this room has a story. No matter where you're at in your life, you have a story, and sometimes you have to be authentic enough to actually tell it. Not enough people will go, in front of people. I used to be, again, shy. As a kid in the class clown, always making jokes, but when the teacher called me out, I wasn't willing to tell the joke because I was nervous. I used to stutter a lot, but I had to practice not how to stutter, have the confidence, and actually, get out of my comfort zone. We all have a comfort zone, but when you actually continue to live in it, you'll actually have to experience the greater things of life. So when you're networking, you're branding yourself, you're shaking hands, you're talking to teachers. You guys have a career fair. You guys have people that come in as speakers like myself, and for the opportunity that you want in your life, whatever it looks like, it just goes down to you to actually ask. Because in my network now, with my Facebook friends and all the people that follow me, I have people wary of what I post. I used to be a kid that used to post memes, funny stuff, jokes, and all that other stuff. But if I do that now, I also have the mayor of St. Paul that follows me on Facebook, the ex-mayor of Minneapolis following me, the mayor of Brooklyn Center following me, a lot of politicians that follow me, and I'm like, I've had to learn that I can also, have a humor because I'm branding myself as a professional. My humor is not the same humor as other people, and when I've learned that again, even what you do on social media really will affect you. We all see nowadays, if you post something on Twitter, 7 years from now, someone's gonna see it and they're gonna hold you accountable for something that you thought was funny, but to some community it wasn't, and it could be demeaning, to another person. And I say all that because everyone in this room mostly has a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, TikTok, whatever social platform that you have. And there's going to come a time in your life where someone's going to see you online and not give you an opportunity. I was there. I had one of the biggest opportunities at my time when I was younger taken away. They were doing an entrepreneur runway. They were highlighting all 500 of the top entrepreneurs in Minneapolis. And I had posted a meme that I thought was funny. Well, the people on that community that I was going to share the stage with didn't feel comfortable giving me an opportunity. And I was like, it was a joke. And well, it wasn't a joke to a lot of the people that, again, were on that same stage. And I realized that even though how great of characters I feel that I have, all the influence that I do have, it does not matter if you offend someone and another person, because it's just a spiral effect. So, I want everyone to know that whatever you do on social media, it will affect you some point in your life, whether you think it's funny or not. I work with a lot of artists. I manage artists for music, rapping, and sometimes our lyrics that we want to write and express because it's our story also may not give us an opportunity when we're trying to get to that point A to point B. Now, know your circle. Your circle is will be your biggest foe or will be your biggest friend. When I was in high school, again, I had a lot of friends, but a lot of my friends were athletes. So I knew that if I wanted to continue to be an athlete, I was going to surround myself with people that were in my network. But my friends that weren't athletes, I never understood where they were going to go because they weren't doing things that I was doing. And because I was a wrestler, and I was obviously hanging out with wrestlers. We cut weight, we hang out, we do all these things. But when you're not in a sport, you have a lot more free time to either do what you want. Sometimes the things you do is going to affect you in a good way or a bad way. So I hung out with knuckleheads. And my mom always tried to get me away from those kids, because I was like, oh, that's my boy, that's my homie. No, you don't know him. Well, as I look at it now, a lot of friends that were my homies at that time, some of them have been arrested, some of them have been in jail,